Welcome to Lena's Garage. Today I will show how to build Hydra Assist so you can drive secondary servo steering piston. I will later mount on the axle. This gives us a stronger and more reliable servo action, as my car has 40-inch tires and portal axles. I start by clearing the steering wheel properly on the outside. After that, I loosen the big nut on the pitman arm. I have to use a puller to get the pitman arm off the splines. Then I reset the steering so that the steering is in the middle. I do this by turning the input shaft fully to the right, then to the left. I count the steering wheel revolutions and turn it back halfway. Then I take 14 mm wrench and remove all 8 bolts that hold together the covers on the steering servo. I start by removing the shaft from the pitman arm by taking a plastic hammer and gently tapping the end where the pitman arm sits, so that the cover comes up. Then I pull the entire shaft out and put it inside. Now I can easily pull out the part where the input shaft sits. Be a little careful when you pull it out. Some oil will come out, and we don't want to turn the piston around inside. As you can see, there is an oil channel at the top of the servo housing. I put a welding wire in the hole along with the string and put the other end against the ball that blocks the next channel. I mark exactly where the channel goes, so we know we will hit the channel when we drill down. I choose to mount a nipple in the middle on the flat lug that is free. I choose to move the bore hole approximately 3 mm from the center of the oil channel towards the center of the car to get more flat for the nut grip. It is still important that we hit the channel, as we will have hydraulic pressure from there. When we drill this up with a 11 mm drill, there is no problem to offset the whole 3 mm and still hit the channel. I use a driver when I have decided exactly where to drill the hole, so the drill hole will end up right. Drill a little bit at a time. Take out the drill and check if I have hit the channel afterwards. It is still very important that we don't drill too deep, and if you look down every now and then while you are drilling, you will see that you are hitting the channel in a good way. Then I tap the hole with the 14 and 1.5 tap, a little at a time back to make free of chips, and continue. I use a drop of oil to grease. Now the hole is threaded. I take and deburr the hole a little bit and therefore blow clean with compressed air. Hydraulic and shavings are not a good combo. We will clean everything carefully. Therefore, I take a drop of hydraulic seal on the nipple and screw it down. This nipple will never be unscrewed, but only provides a correct connection to the hydraulic hose. It is glued with hydraulic seal, which is very strong, and I actually don't know if it is possible to unscrew it in the future, but it will be tight. I grind down the text Toyota so that it is flat. It is only because it will be easier to drill and thread. I make this flat. Yes, now starting to look at where to put the second nipple and decide to put it where it says Toyota in the middle between O and D. I take a measurement from the edge with a caliper, approximately 55 mm, not so precise. Now take a ruler and mark where I want the hole, approximately 55 mm from the edge and slightly offset from the housing, so that it is no problem to screw down a nipple that has 22 mm grip width on the nut head. Do the same as the previous hole, but drill here first 3 mm, then 7 mm and finally 12 mm drill and screw down the nipple. Now I start cleaning. I use WD-40 oil, which I spray in the channels and blow with compressed air and make sure that it is cleaned. After that I check that everything looks good with all rinse and wear. In my case I didn't have to change anything. I take some ATF oil and lubricate, starting by reassembling the input shaft first and checking that it is centered to the steering wheel rotation. After that, I mount the pitman arm shaft. It has a marking at the top on the inside showing that it's straight out, so look at it. My marking disappeared. Put the axle down almost completely and check that the steering works as before with the same number of steering wheel turns as from the beginning, approximately 5 full revolutions and 10 minutes at least. Then set it in the middle. Screw in the 8 bolts with 14 mm socket wrench. Mount the pitman arm on the correct plate. There is a stretch punched on both the arm and the shoulder where it should sit, and then tighten the nut. I choose to paint the steering wheel first with black 2-component epoxy primer and therefore 2-component epoxy paint, so that it will withstand dirt for a long time. Here you can see how it turned out. The angled connections you see are the end of hydraulic hose that we will press in the next section and connect to the hydraulic piston on the axle. So, if you don't want to miss part 2, subscribe.